Hello, my fellow people. Welcome back for another episode of the Anime Podcast Show. A new season, a new year. Let's kick off 2023 right. But how is everybody's New Year's went? Did it went well or not so well? Well, doesn't matter. We're in the new year already, but let's do it. Let's kick off the show with the regular segment with the first one. And I'm going to change the title because I don't want to mention about COVID anymore. So I'm going to change it to new shows of my interest in anime. This series, I was interested that it would be from an old franchise to a new. You'll know recognizing this phrase. 3, 2, 1, let it rip. That's called Burst. Beyblade Burst. Beyblade Burst series is a famous toy line by Hasbro. It's the third incarnation of the franchise. It started off as a manga in July of 2015, then turned into an anime series for kids, starting airing in Japan on April of 2016. Since the first season started airing, it started to become very popular. So the studio had decided to continue the story from Season 2, known as Burst Evolution, to introduce brand new characters, including starting with Season 3, Burst Turbo, to the current season, as they connecting plot points throughout the series. As for the English dub releases, it broadcast in the fall of 2016, and the audience were pretty impressive. It felt like the old school Beyblade series from the early 2000s, but with the twist of a new generations of fans who were interested in watching Beyblade. Speaking about interest, what was my interest with the Beyblade Burst series? Of course, I'm a huge fan of Beyblade since I was a kid. Watching the OG, and I thought there won't be any reincarnations or any incarnations of the franchise, but might as well, they actually did with 2 more series for a new generation of the franchise. But yes, they had done 2 stories. One is the Metal Saga, and the other is the Burst series. But the first 2 seasons were dubbed by, of course, in Vancouver, Canada, in Oceans Productions. But then I didn't know about this until then on, around Season 3 and beyond will be dubbed by Bang Zoom Entertainment. Because when I didn't know about the Bang Zoom cast, I'm going, oh my gosh, I didn't know that. Because the reason why I say that, because I recognize a few voice actors from other anime shows. So I was very curious, and I was like, let's take a crack at it. And that was it. After that, I fell in love with it, and the cast, the rest of the English cast, they freaking brilliant as always. They always killed it in their work, whatever they do. And I still really enjoyed it, and that was my reason with the Beyblade Burst series. Alright, let's move on to the next segment of the show, and that would be Topic of the Week. For this episode's topic, it will be about what has been the longest running anime franchise of all time. Let's take a look at it. Well, in my top 10 list, I got so many shows I want to talk about, but let's start up with the list. So, with the list starts with this famous franchise, and we all know, and this is, you all know this line, and that is means, it's time to duel. And you all know this, it's Yu-Gi-Oh! As it becomes what it is as it is today, but back in the day in '99, it wasn't even that popular. Well, the manga did, not the anime, because the direction that from the season 0, taking approach of that storyline, it's kind of daunting to be. But what I mean is to be daunting is kind of not one of the best storylines they ever come up with. But here's what it is. If you guys don't know that, Toei Animation, they held the rights for the Yu-Gi-Oh! The 1998 series. Well, because what type of direction they had at the time. And when the manga came out, it was so violent. from the very start of the story. So they're like, you know what, let's do an abridged version of that story, but change it up a little bit. As the fandom calls it Season 0. Now to the 2000, that was the OG was born. I'm talking about the Duel Monster series. And that series blew up at that time, as it was because all thanks to the card game, but to the international audience, after the main series ended their run, they had started making a spin-off series based on Yu-Gi-Oh! And around at the same time, the card game becomes more popular than ever, and everything, including every single new spin-off series comes out. And then after that, in the card game, they have every new strategy. But still, after 20 years of the franchise, to this day, everyone still remembers the OG series, the main series that we all knew growing up, as it was still a memory of, we all know these famous characters we grew up listening to back in the day from our English cast or even the Japanese cast. And I don't know, to this day, I hope one day they'll do a reboot series, but who in the hell knows what they want to do for the future, but who knows. In the 9th list, of course, one of my favorite series growing up, and that would be Digimon. It becomes a huge success. Started with influenced by Tamagotchi, then made into a video game, to battle monsters, turning into one of the original ideas, setting the world of becoming a Digidestin into an anime series and become a successful hit. Not only Japan, but it was huge internationally, to be honest, and selling action figures, card games, and DVDs, VHSs at the time, etc. But the franchise had died down a little bit in the midway through the 2010s. But in the middle of Digimon Adventure Tri era, in somewhere in 2015 when it started, I don't remember, but 2015 to 2018, it kind of resurrected the franchise. Toei decided to reboot the franchise and give a new audience for the Digimon Adventure cast that we know from the original series. So now they're going to have a different approach of a new version, and that was set in the modern day in the year of 2020. Until their most recent series called Digimon Ghost Game, taking a spin on Digimon into a horror genre. But to be honest, that's a freaking great idea, but I still wonder what will be the dub cast be for the Ghost Game series. But anyway, one thing on my mind is I still love the OG series and the main series of the franchise. And of course, Tamers, Frontier, and Data Squad. Those were my shows growing up back then. But with Fusion, I don't know about it because I did took a crack on it, but I still did not crack the code of that whole season. So I'm gonna try to take a look at it again one day, and might as well. Who knows? And number 8, as it was the longest running anime for over 720 episodes way back in 2002, it becomes Shonen's 21st century anime of all time. That would be Naruto. How did it become popular with a young generation of anime fans of ages 9 to 15? Well, it's simple. It felt of a protagonist becomes a dream of successful human being you want to be. Inspired, conflict your own enemies, your teammates, turns into a battle rival. But to this day, everyone still talks about Naruto due to the fact because Boruto is on the air right now. That's still going on right now, but I don't know where the story is for the show right now. But there has been some highs and the lows throughout of Naruto. But still, it's still one of the greatest franchises, and to this day. In number 7 in my list, coming in ages setting in a post-apocalyptic world, come on fam, you got to be a freaking badass protagonist. But this badass protagonist named Kenshiro in Fist of the North Star. It's still a highly recommended series. I need to find time to watch it, because of course I know there's a lot of violence throughout of it, and airing the series in the 1980s, and at the time, anime that they don't know even care of what the audience say or they don't say, or what they want to see in an anime format. I don't know. But they just want to give a creative minds launching so many projects between 1984 to 87. Well, thanks to anime, the manga sales becomes popular due to the storyline and adapting the entirety of the story. But to this day, new fans who are interested with Fist of the North Star, it would be a hell of a lot of fun and enjoyable ride getting to see these characters for over 109 episodes, including their own movies, a spin-off series, and everything. But for me, as a fan, I'm going to get into Fist of the North Star. I am looking forward to take a look at it one day. Coming up in number 6, one of the most mastermind of the greatness of a master thief named Lupin III. He sees himself as a mastermind of a lot of treasures he sees. Going through his journey, joining his allies, Daisuke Jigen, Goemon, and Fuchiko, together to see them a lot of troubles in the past, like when Lupin got married in Italy. Meets up with a little detective known as Detective Conan, his classic adventures with his first outing, continuation films to the Womiko Fuchiko Mine series, kind of a rated R movies, the best CGI film, creating a stop to an evil plans of TV special villains, coming up some ideas from the creator of Lupin, Monkey Punch, his wish they made more stories during his lifetime. But still, the Lupin character is not dead yet. In the future, everyone will still remember this iconic character that was started in the late 1960s. Coming up to number 5, to this famous series you guys know, you can pick your favorites like the OG, the 0080, Wing, 00, and Seed, many more. One of the most iconic series that started in the 1979 series, produced and animated by Sunrise, and that will be the Gundam franchise. Telling these stories in these different formats in compilation movies, theatrical films, TV specials, and original OVA series, and the list goes here from there. But the franchise is still going. It still becomes a culture phenomena, but everyone's, including myself, I'm very new to that franchise too. But I'm very excited what the series will bring me to that world of the franchise and will impact on myself. But for the franchise, Gundam is still going strong with their own universes. Coming up in number 4. How can you find a world in no increasable to a martial artist? An electrifying series will be known for almost half a century, opening the gate of how you compare from a beautiful animation to an animation violence knows about. Turning into a legendary Super Saiyan, and yes, I am talking about Dragon Ball. One of another favorite franchise growing up, kicking from basically to creating incredible and most famous characters to the most iconic series from 89 to 96, and that would be Dragon Ball Z. As in a Wall Street Journal, Dragon Ball Z is bringing impalement, strangulation to after-school crowd. Actually, for a young kids ages 9 to 11, watching and seeing what happens next with the world's mightiest heroes risking their lives to save the world from greater evil. Coming in number 3, becoming a high school detective, you always be a hothead. Not when you are a detective. Until one day, they will shrunk you and turns back into a kid. Well, you guessed it, it's Detective Conan. This franchise has been on for 25 plus years, over 1,000 episodes, and 25 movies as of this recording. Up to the point now is when does this series comes to an end? But my sources are saying that somewhere in 2027 to 2030, will be the finish up for the storyline, but I don't know. Well, they had made 2 anime spin-off series and still the most beloved detective character in Japan. Not only that, he have his own town, a birthplace from the creator of Detective Conan. Now turns into a museum of a history, creating this story, is ready to share with the world. For number 2 in the list, and that would be, well, if you want to become king of the pirates, we have to go set sail to find the treasure, One Piece. And like I just mentioned, One Piece. The anime had already surpassed 1,000 episodes, but no matter what the story is still going, but it's still continuing as of this recording. The creator of One Piece, Eiichiro Oda, has started working on the final saga to end this ambitious storyline, but still I'm not ready to say goodbye yet. But let's continue the ride to Luffy's journey to the search of One Piece. At number 1 in the list, you know this anime series, which world you want to live in. And most of the answer is, well, in the world of Pokemon. Well, it kicked things off with the video games, then turned into a popular anime series of all time. That is why it's in the number 1 spot. Through different generations of different ages of how old you'd watch Pokemon, of any age group for over 25 years. As of this franchise, well, now we got the news already. It's still very popular, but these days are going to be over for our protagonists, because Ash and Pikachu are finishing up their journey. Because thanks to the games, of course, see the beautiful animation of seeing our favorite characters of our favorite franchise. But going on the journey with Ash and Pikachu, it was an honor. But as of this video comes out, we all know that it's already came to an end already. But for us in the English side, not really just yet. Because I bet they're going to drop those episodes anytime soon, but don't know when. But yeah, but still really enjoyable ride to Ash and Pikachu. And now Ash is already become a Pokemon Master already. And he already achieved his goal. And I'm glad to hear that it went well. As of the ending of this topic in Topic of the Week segment, that is my list of these awesome franchises. I'll say most of them are still going strong these days, but I hope you guys still support these franchises if you are a fan of them. I want to end the first episode of Season 5 starting fresh, like it was from the very beginning of when I first started working on the show. I got so many anime series I want to talk about throughout of this year. We'll have a great time. It's like riding a bike all over again. Well, let's hope 2023 be the best year yet. See you next time on the next episode of the Anime Podcast Show. Take care.